Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am the Motorcycle Rescuer and this is Motorcycle Rescuer. So I've got a few hours today. If I'm extremely lucky, I'd like to have this 50 pieced back together with the new shock gaiters on. They are here. That's them, simple. Covers the shocks, they're still functioning, they're not leaking, they just look ugly, so we cover them up. And I'd like to get all the panels back on, and this bike will then be ready for an MOT. If we're extremely lucky today, we'll get to see this bike in one piece. If we're even more lucky, I want to try and start the ZL 600. Now yesterday I thoroughly cleaned the carbs. I spent a long time doing that by hand. Now of course you can always send these off. Jake's got all of the parts and equipment to deal with these. But that takes days, and then you have to mess with recalibrating properly and all of that. Basically, if they're close to being okay, these were not caked on the inside. They were not caked. They were actually quite clean, so I cleaned them through thoroughly and then threw them back together. So the ideal would be to get the ZL fired up today, just to hear it and get some new oil circulating around, and then we're just going to use that oil as to clean it out, and then we'll do a proper oil flush with a new oil filter and get some decent oil in there. I bought some bits and pieces to help with the tank and mudguard prep, so sandpaper, knifing putty, rust remover, etc., to kind of get that process going. But today is going to be the majority, my 50cc. It's got a rear stand, so all I need to do is jack up the middle bit here and I can work on the shocks. All I've got to do at the moment is pop off the front wheel. That will give me enough space to drop the shocks, slide them on, slide them back up, and there you go, you're off. Keep it simple, guys. There should be 2 bolts up here. There's one there. There's one on the other side. When I get these off, I'm going to clean them up again, get them as smooth as I can, then chuck them back on with the gaiters, then put it all back together. I think we'll have a 50cc that starts on the button every single time and looks okay and rides well, because we know all of that. And then ideally, I'm thinking about what I want to do with this bike, but I'm thinking about offering it up as it is for some sort of swaps. Ideally, I'd like a project, something sitting in someone's garden. It could be any project, big bike, little bike, but yeah, I'm considering putting this up for swaps as it sits. I'll get it MOT'd, it'll be road legal, running, riding and MOT'd, but you have to apply for the logbook, so I'm not going to wait 6 to 8 weeks for that. That's for the next person to do. But yeah, some sort of swap. So anyone interested, watch this video first, see the outcome of the bike, see if you like it, and then look in your gardens and your sheds. What have you got to offer me? I might be able to help with delivery, although I can't go too far out of London. And let's be honest, you'll probably be getting a better deal than I am. So have a think about it and throw in the comments what you've got, what your offer is, what you'd like to do. Anyway, let's get started. I need to do a couple of bits. I need to loosen up the front wheel, drop the front wheel, loosen up the shocks, drop the shocks, blah blah blah, and get that sorted. Okay guys, so on this occasion I had the opportunity to drop everything, keep the wheel on, keep the brakes on. I dropped it all and then I chucked on the gaiters there. Slide them on down at the bottom, just twist them on and you're sorted. Now remember, these shocks do work, they are not leaking. That's why I put them on, to protect them a little bit longer. I cleaned them up as best as I could. Now what I've done here is any bits of rust you see, WD it right now while you can, because that will help it last much longer. Get some WD on there. I'll get some wool on that. Look, this here for example, and we might get another 5 to 10 years out of this bike just by doing some preparation work now while we're down in pieces, you know. So that's what I'm doing, just cleaning up that a bit. And now I'm going to go and pull out some of the new panels even. I'm going to start chucking them together, and this should look like and ride like a nice bike towards the end of today, which will be really cool, I think. So what's first? I can't even think what's needed. I've got the front brake, the rear brake, that's all sorted now. I don't even know what I've done on this bike. I've lost complete. I was only waiting for the forks, so I can just start piecing this bike back together as I see fit, really. I guess side panels, front panels. I'll chuck that panel. I took that off to help me do the forks. Make sure when you torque the forks down, you torque them down well. Ideally use the manufacturer's torque settings. Quite hard to find on this bike, if I'm being honest, so I just tightened them down very well. I used Little John to help me, which is okay, by the way, guys. All mechanics have some sort of breaker bar that helps them. Right, let's start piecing this back together. Let's start doing the bit, I think probably the nicest bit of work that we're going to do now, putting this back together and seeing it as a better looking bike. Now sometimes the best bits of work are bits like this. So check out this front mudguard. I'm going to give it a quick wipe with a dirty cloth and a basic cleaner. Now that will make it look shiny-ish, but when it dries you'll see that it's dull. Ooh, gonna have to fix that. Right, so that looks shiny-ish. Brand new cloth here. I'm going to dry it off, and you'll see that it's actually quite dull. Now I'm going to use my favourite stuff, which is this turtle wax. Scratch, repair and renew, and it's just brilliant stuff. There you go. Now you just take your time, rub it in, work it all the way around. And it brings back the paint so well. You don't actually see what it's done until you've wiped it. So I'm going to keep working it. I'm going to put a little bit more on the sides. Because we don't just want to clean it, we want to repair it as well. As in, we want to, sorry, not repair it, we want to protect it as well. A little bit more on the edge. A little bit of elbow grease, and you watch when I wipe this away. It will look stunning. Right, other side of the cloth, completely dry. Look at that. Like new. I mean, that is crazy. Obviously on these cheaper Chinese paint jobs, it's once you've done it, you need to cake it in a wax or something, guys. Look at that. What you do is you give it a few minutes to dry itself out, and then you put a car wax on it, nice and thick. And then you end up with, it's protected for a while, basically. I'm also going to put the car wax on the panels, even though they're meant to be matte, because they need some protection. But quick job there, and it makes a world of difference. I obviously need to do something down here, probably glue, to make it a bit safer. Right, otherwise let's carry on. Let's try and get this front panel on, if I can find it. When you're at this stage, guys, you've plugged all your wires in, get the ignition on, check the indicators, check the lights. Horn. Good. Good. I think we need ignition for the front light. Good. So we can see everything working there, guys. The lights are a bit faint because the battery must be running low. I need to charge it. That's what happens when the battery runs low on a little engine like this. The lights end up powering off the ignition. I also should check that this bike is charging anyway, shouldn't I? Just in case we're back to that issue, like on the old bike we had. So, great, we're getting there, we're looking good. Let's get this front panel on and bolted. It's a bit of a pain because there's bolts everywhere, and then you've got this weird under panel that you could almost just take off. But I have, of course, left it on. But yeah, it's just all it's a bit awkward, this top end. So I'll get this on as best as I can, and then we'll look at what's next. You can see the black paintwork against the nice shiny red. It looks quite good, actually, at this stage, guys. Okay, guys, front panel's on. Obviously, it'll need a bit of a wipe after when it's all dry. Lots and lots of screws and bolts on that panel, so bit of a pain, but obviously worth it in the end. I think belly pan next to kind of secure all of this area. That panel's easy, it just slides on last. That panel's easy, it just slides on last. Definitely belly pan next to tie all of this in. The belly pan is, of course, still white, guys. I felt like it needed something to tie in the blue and the red as well. So blue, red and white. So I'll get that on and we'll see how that looks next. So far it's looking good. It's got my finger marks on it, but that'll polish off. No problems at all, look. There's my finger marks, but it's been 5 or 6 days, so this paint is cured. It's literally, you can clean it now, which is all that is. You can put a bit of cleaner on it and give it a clean. We're getting there, slowly. These are the kind of projects, these are the stages I enjoy. I hate doing the painting. Like the mechanics, like putting the bikes back together and kind of finalising everything. I enjoy that. Okay guys, so we're getting there. We've got the kind of the front is all kind of done, ready. Belly pan's on. It really doesn't look terrible, actually. It kind of all ties in. Rear section's just on with one bolt, that side at the moment. This side's nearly fully together. Lots and lots of pieces to this puzzle. It's a really weird one. I've got to pull them all out, find them, clean them up and chuck them on. But it is looking like a nice bike now, which is pretty cool. There's some bits and pieces I want to do after. I want to clean up these shocks just with some WD and wire wool. That'll make it nice and clean and new looking. Maybe even down here as well, or maybe even pop that off and paint it. It won't hurt either way. But let's continue with these panels. So I'm looking for that inner side panel in there somewhere for this side. And then for one panel that goes across the top to cover the battery. And I think that's it. Okay guys, so final piece of the puzzle was this middle one here. Now I'm going to give the bike a quick wipe over, and then I'm going to put it out a bit more into the light, and then we're going to have a look at it and we're going to see how it's looking. So guys, apart from ordering a new number plate because that one's cracked, this is the final piece of the puzzle for me. Some WD-40, some wire wool, and we make this shock look new again, or as close to as possible. You don't need to be rough, just try and get in the nooks and crannies. With These bits here, you can kind of get the wire wall in and you can floss it. Better. Right, I'm going to continue this for a while and then I'll show you the aftermath, but generally you can see there it comes up quite nice. Okay guys, so here it is. This is the final piece of the puzzle. Now, like with all my projects, you could just go nuts, keep going, but this is the overall. That shined up really nice. That rear shock looks pretty much new. We know the brakes are all good, I've done them already. Panels came out nice, got a bit of wax on them just to keep them a bit more protected. Front brake works perfectly as it should. That's been done. I'll double check all the lights and MOT stuff in a minute. If I can find a seat cover or a seat for this bike, I will put it on. For now, it's MOT. Number plate snapped on the corner. You wouldn't get away with that, I don't think. Even if you taped it, I don't think, for the sake of £8 or whatever, we'll chuck a new one on. I think I was considering trimming all this off. Trim all that off, put that up there. But again, that's all stuff that's unnecessary. So that's the bike overall, guys. I hope you can see it. It's a bit dark today, but as a general rule, what I would do if I could find some, I'd go red pinstripe up here, look. Follow the lines, one along there, one along there, one along there, one along there, maybe even a blue one next to it, and then you tie the whole bike in. But I think this project, and it's not really a project anymore, fork gaiters are done, nice and clean, no messing around. I wouldn't call this a project anymore, but this is a bike. But for the next person, that's the kind of stuff you can do. Like I said earlier, guys, get into your sheds, get into your garden, see what's kicking about, see what you offer me for this bike. I'm ideally looking for swaps. I'll be curious. I'd like another project. Let's warm this up. Let's check out all the MOT stuff. Left indicators, good, good. Right indicators, good. Not good. That's the one I fixed and all, isn't it? Horn. Let's get it fired back up. It's a two-stroke, guys. It takes a while to warm up. I'll have to sort out that rear indicator. Front lights. High beam. I'll have to rev it up to that. good. Front shocks are good, rear shocks are good. Bike runs and rides beautifully. Still a bit smoky because I've got 2-stroke in the fuel. That's absolutely the right thing to do in a 2-stroke. You never know when them 2-stroke pumps give up. Amazing sound. All the speedo works, all the dial works. You can change the colours. At the moment it's green. You can go like that's blue. That's what colour's that? It's kind of green as well. That's purple. Purple's quite cool. Obviously you see it more at night. That's red. Still takes a little while. I'll get some fuel chucked in it, that will help. But a nice bike, guys. Once you've run this now, it will idle and stuff. It's just, it needs warming up. And that's it. It's going to cut off. Of course it is. That's the final piece of the puzzle. I think it looks really good. And more importantly, it's MOTable. Let me catch that plate again for my own reference so I can order a new one. EU11GC3. Cool. And yeah, I like it. It's come up really clean, hasn't it? Okay, guys. For let's get back to the ZL600. I know I haven't released yesterday's video yet, but I'll add that to this one. I'm going to pull out the ZL600. I'm going to put some oil in it and clean up the old spark plugs. I've already doused them in WD, and I want to see if it runs. Obviously, well, yeah, obviously I've done all the carb cleaning and stuff. Alright guys, we're here picking up this bike. Now what I find hilarious every time Jake opens the gate is if you crawl forward and squash him with your fan. Here we go guys. Last time we was here we couldn't take the steering lock off, but now we have the key. 7 years, 7 to 10 years he says. It's been sitting here 7 to 10 years. Jake.
Yeah.
What would this foot peg be for? Bloody hell. Is there? There's not one on the other side. There is! No.
Or if you want to give a front backy, in case you
Oh my god, we can do 2 up, me and you.
Yeah,
You
I
can
can sit on the handlebars.
You can sit on the tank with your feet on there. No way, Jake. I've never seen that before. It's like cruise control. Oh, Jake, this tank's bad, mate. Look, rust. We were wondering if it'd be rusty on the inside.
Crack it open.
Oh, I almost don't want to. He loves the, it's green and orange.
Yeah.
He loves that, and I doubt it's something we could replicate. The inside don't look bad, Jake. Oh, it looks clean.
Hold on.
Oh, it does, it looks clean. Not helping at all.
Well, my battery's gonna die. Oh no, there you go. That.
Oh mate, it's empty, that's why it's clean in there.
Yeah, it is. I think it's completely dry.
But
there's no rust, really.
But there's rust on the outside, which means there could be rust on the inside. That's such a shame because he wanted...
There's a little bit in there.
He wanted this original, didn't he? There, I can't get over them. I just can't. So you're sitting on your bike, right? Sitting here, take this. So you're sitting on your bike, you're cruising down the motorway, and then you're like... Clutch is free. 16,000 miles. can't wait to get this one started. Can't wait. Guys, if you've ever seen that before, let me know what they're for. I have no idea. But for now, we're going to make sure the steering lock does come off. Look. Please. Please.
I wonder if they need a battery.
Nah, of course not. 7 to 10 years. Nah, it's dead. Completely. Steering lock. Results. What are tyres like? They got any air at all? We need to get better at bringing pumps, you know.
Yeah.
The amount of bikes we've dragged up. How is there air in them tyres?
It just comes down once a year and pumps them up, I guess.
Yeah, maybe. Guys, we're using the AirPods on here. So hopefully these carbs have been tuned. Obviously Jake's got all of the carb parts anyway. But I'm going to have to figure out how clean can I get this tank.
I'll show you, look.
How original does he want to keep it? Yeah, just lick your finger.
Yeah, just rub it down, there you go.
It's more about that, Jake.
Don't worry, we'll sort that. There's some all over, look, there's some over here and here.
I can do a basic black 2K paint. If we can find them stickers in green and orange, we can keep...
Yeah, but at the same time...
some of the originality. Guys, remember this bike is for a man's, I think he said his 52nd birthday, and he's desperate. He loves the orange. He wants it original. He wants the shiny to be really shiny. For some reason, he wants more bullet looking clocks, so he wants them to sit a bit higher, and he wants the bullet looking, which I think we can manage. He said the rear shocks were a bit soft for him. Well, they're actually good quality shocks, and they're adjustable, I believe. They are adjustable actually, look. God, would be nuts. Would be nuts changing them out. Unless they've had it, maybe they've had it. Anyway guys, we'll get this loaded tomorrow. You're going to see the other thing he wants more butch up here. He wants it more butch, more risen, more out. So we're going to get some nice thick handlebars. We're going to get some decent risers, rise them out a bit and butch it up a bit. But for now, let's get this bad boy loaded. We're finally loaded, guys. Ready to get this boy home.
Hello everyone, and this is our Sodell that we're doing up. So I'm going to start by just wiping off the dirt and seeing what needs doing. That way we sort of know what's to be replaced, what needs doing, and don't leave it last minute to end up having loads more to do. Charlie's in the background, sitting on his phone.
Don't clean it yet.
Yeah. This is the problem, Charlie. You need to know what you're working with. If we need the new tank, and we get everything else sorted, and we end up waiting 2 weeks to get the tank sorted, then it's a pain. Right now, look, I can see there's tons and tons of rust everywhere.
You're also just rubbing in crap into the paintwork that we're trying to save.
Yeah, that's why you give it a clean before and after. I mean, look.
God, every time I look at this bike, Jake.
That's what I'm saying. You would have left this, and then we look at it, and it's like, oh God.
No, but I mean, every time I look at it, it looks in worse and worse condition.
That's because it's daylight.
Stop, the more you clean it, the worse it looks.
Yeah, but then we know what we need and what we need to sort.
Oh,
it's a pain in the arse to be there.
Looks alright to me.
Look, that's rust, mate. Rust.
Yeah.
If that's rust on the top, what's going to be on the bottom?
Well, no, it could be surface rust.
Look at the mud guard, guys. Jake, look at the... Great, give it a quick wipe. Oh, God.
So that's going to all need sanding back.
Sanding back, mate, sanding back.
Gonna need the whole
That
loop.
needs magic. I'm all out of magic.
Hopes and dreams, that's what they
I mean, there is one good thing, though. These forks are good.
The forks will be fine, yeah,
Yeah.
They'll polish up, you're right.
Look at that.
And the bottoms can be cleaned and polished, actually.
The indicators
Yeah.
are pretty alright.
But it just means we know
LED
majority of the
indicators.
parts we might have to
Yeah,
take
they're alright.
off.
Yeah, oh, this is a tough one. I think we need to get the rear seat off, we need to get the tank off, we need to get some two-stroke down the chambers, let it sit for a few minutes, turn it over by hand, this one.
Yeah, the oil is a bit low. It's also extremely dry and it's got no coolant.
Okay, that makes sense with the coolant, just it kind of...
And it looks filthy in there.
Alright, well, we can do a coolant flush, that's fine.
Yeah, I've got coolant flush.
I love how you're polishing the bike, mate. You know, it doesn't run, doesn't start,
Charlie,
doesn't do anything.
we need to know what needs doing.
At the moment. Alright, guys, let's get on this. Tank, seat off, tank off, spark plugs out, two-stroke down, turn it over by hand, so on and so on and so on until we get it. Let's make sure it spins over by hand, then we'll start looking at carb cleans and stuff like that. So this is our ZL600 project.